I have expensive taste. Like, you can line up the, like, 5 things of, like, the exact same, and I'll pick the one, and it's like, shit, that one's the $5,000 one. And it's like, I don't know why. I just pick that one. I gravitate towards it. But I feel like at least we were good in dentistry for taking a step back and saying, I don't need to have, like, that exclusive taste, you know, on bibs or on like certain things. There are certain things I'm very picky on.
All right, Alex, it's been a little bit since we've recorded. We got back a couple weeks ago from Voices of Dentistry, which was really cool. Got to speak there, and we got to meet, probably for the second or third time in person, a man who is probably one of one. And I say this as a compliment. When you meet him, you will always remember Jay Glazer, right? From DC Dental or Crazy Dental. I don't know. Jay, how often do you travel?
I can't keep track. It's I don't know. Last year it was. It's more often than most, but less than many. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, super clear. Thanks. That was really clear.
Yeah. I guess in the 20 last year I think it was 25 or 30 different trips.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So that's
you're always around. I feel like anytime I text you, it's like, I'm off to this conference, off to this conference, off to this one.
Yeah, I always say as a joke, that's why my stomach is more round than others. You know, it's just gotta keep the physique and the same way that I keep my itinerary. Yeah, you got. And I like to say, you got to hustle with muscle, like money for the honey. It's the bottom line.
There's gonna be like 100 of these Jay-isms. I feel like that'll just be the episode. Is what are these Jay-isms? Yeah. Well, anyways, we got to hang out at Voices of Dentistry a couple weeks ago, and then we wanted to try to record an episode with them then, but then we all got busy.
We were popular.
Yeah, I know.
And
yeah.
you guys were given a class.
Oh yeah.
Which I politely did not interrupt you, and I thought about it many times. And
Thanks. Hope you learned a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I zipped it just.
So yeah, we said, all right, now that we're back, let's get him on, because we kind of wanted to talk to him. We've been working a lot with Jay and like the whole team at either DC Dental or Crazy Dental, which a lot of you guys know, on our own software and inventory management platform. We're working on Ordo, right? And so we're trying to work on like trying to get dentists better prices on a lot of stuff. So we've been talking with Jay for a while now and all this, and we were like, we should just have him come on the podcast once so we can kind of go over, I don't know, probably something that I feel like, I don't know why I feel like this.
I know you're very like passionate about this stuff.
Yeah, I think I'm.
It's okay.
I don't know where it comes from. I think I'm passionate on like spending the least amount on stuff that I can. Right. I think that's a thing.
I think it's called being cheap.
Yeah. And I always like to know like the hidden secrets behind stuff, right? So like when I started to deep dive into like getting our supply costs down, and then to sell our practice, right? We wanted to try to keep all our margins as tight as we could, and then diving into more of Ordo with like, how can other offices save money too? I started to uncover or realize like, there's a lot of things we know about with like, disposables, if you get sterilization pouches or your gauze, anything like that. Like you were saying before, Alex, you don't need like Gucci gauze or anything like that. You can just get like the generic, which I think a lot of people know. But I started to kind of dive into more of non-disposables too, and using either like house brand stuff or like, if we both love Costco, right? Kirkland brand, right? For certain things.
Yeah.
And so there's things I started to just kind of test out at the office, right? So like, for example, one of those was using like desensitizer, right? I'd always buy the really expensive bottle of Gluma or some name brand one, and kind of switched almost like a year ago to the brand that DC Dental, Crazy Dental uses, right? For theirs or their house brand for it. And like, I don't know, I like to do a lot of fillings.
Yeah,
I've seen no difference in terms of post-op sensitivity, fillings breaking, fillings coming out, any issues.
Yeah.
It's been consistently the same. I mean, like, so for me, it's like, okay, then let's continue using it, right? Like, So I wanted to bring him on just to kind of go through all that stuff and kind of maybe we can share some of those like hidden secret stuff, because I feel like everyone likes those.
Cool. Supplies revealed.
Supplies revealed.
That's right.
Exactly.
We should charge people for listening.
I know. Let's do it. Yeah. Um, yeah. So do you want to go through maybe tell us because you guys have how many products do you guys have at your
50,000.
jeez.
Yeah, it's a lot of products.
I mean, do you find most dentists are using all 50,000 or are there a lot that just sit on the shelves? Like is it like an
Absolutely not.
80/20
Yeah.
rule?
It's yeah, it's pretty close. So the way we work it as a company, we categorize everything A, B, C, D, and E. So A are the most, based off, let's say, a 3 month history, the last 3 months. So, let's say January, February, March, then April, May, June, July, August, September, October, December. I know my months score, right? So that's the goal. So what we do is we say, okay, X amount have been sold over the past, 3 months. We want to make sure that we have, X amount in for the next 3 months. So we look at A. The A's have to be in stock 100% of the time, unless there's a manufacturer issue or, boat gets blown up or whatever, the Panama Canal shuts. I don't know, whatever it is, right? And then, China just burns. I don't know. So that has to, or Malaysia, whatever. So that has to be in stock. B is like 95% of the time. C, so these, C 85 or 90, and then it drops. E's, the D's and the E's are the guys, for, let's say opening office, and they buy an instrument that you and I've never heard of. That if we left it on the shelf, it would sit there for 8 months, 12 months, and then like, why buy it and put it? Why let it sit on the shelf? Just order when you need it, right? So that's how we categorize A, B, C, D, and E. And I can't tell you what our competitors do, but that's how we roll. It doesn't make sense, like you're saying, to keep so many products. That just sits there and then collects dust. Doesn't make any sense.
So how many products are in that like category A? Like in roughly?
It's a great question. I could have to ask our. I could ask our purchasing, but I would say in the 12,000 range,
Okay.
Okay.
maybe 18,000, something somewhere in that window.
Yeah. That's a lot
Well,
of
it's like the
products.
same way as a dental office, right? Like Alex, like you're big on Alex is huge on systems and stuff, and so even when we built out our office, right? Like you build out all these tip out bins so you could see everything, you know where everything's at, but you're not stocking like it's the same thing. You can look at your inventory, right? It's just inventory.
Yeah, I'm
management.
looking right
Yeah.
now. There's 59,122
Total
items.
products.
Yeah, and I could check, and it's different line items, so
Yeah.
it's a lot of stuff. But to keep the ones that like I said, the products that everybody uses, those better be in stock, unless there's a real problem.
What is
and-
the like
and
off the top of your head? Give us a few. What is like the most common thing that dental offices always buy?
Okay, the most popular.
You want to
item-
guess?
Oh, guess what's yours, Alex? I think
Guess.
I know mine. Hold on, don't tell us yet. Don't tell us yet. Don't tell us.
Well, like gloves, masks, pouches, and anesthetic.
All right, how close was she?
So the truth is, I would have to dig really deep because
Just give us
if
an
you
answer.
want to
Make
do a
something up,
line,
man.
yeah, exactly. Gotta make
you
it, gotta make
need
it
to
complicated.
agree with me.
If you want to do a one line item, that I could break it down to. But as far as if you want to do category families, that I would have to actually
No, just,
do a separate search because for gloves, we have over 100 gloves, right? And then each glove has small, medium,
yeah, large, extra
large,
big
extra
ass
large,
hand.
and
Yeah.
extra small.
and then
Some
tiny,
have extra small too.
and then
Extra
circus
small.
hands, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like it could be, you're right. It could be gloves. Gloves probably are the king because you have each glove has 5 different sizes, right? Extra small, small, medium, large, and extra large. And then you have 100 different types of gloves. So and then there's also nitrile and there's latex and there's whatever, not plastic, whatever the heck they call that stuff, a nylon, and then there's the fake stuff.
propylene,
Yeah.
something or other.
Yeah, there's a chloroprene, right? And
Yeah,
then
chloroprene, yeah.
there's a nylon, and there's a whatever. There's so many.
Oh
So
yeah, and then the surgical
probably-
gloves, like the sterile ones.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh geez,
yes,
there's so many.
yes,
So like
yes, but the one line item, that right now takes the cake by far is lidocaine.
okay.
Lido.
If it's one,
Lido,
if it's
yeah.
one, yeah, it's Lido. If it's one item, if you one line, meaning, but
Yep.
if you break it down by categories, I would agree it's going to be gloves, maybe masks, But I would tend to say
So
that
like what
gloves
on
are
those,
Cool.
like when we buy gloves and we're all, you look in Facebook groups and everyone's got like a deal for gloves, right? And like I feel like as dentists we always want cheap gloves, right? Like get them as cheap as I can.
yes,
Do you guys
right.
normally are gloves not that high of margin products for you guys? Like do you guys not make a lot on gloves? Like is it kind of like the
Gloves are
grocery?
so competitive,
Yeah.
and then you have guys who are just selling them off a truck. They bought them somewhere else. They're left over from COVID or whatever, and some of
Hmm.
these websites that are out there. So yeah, the margins are not great. It's very competitive, and they're also, don't forget, even in gloves, to make it more uh, just a mind twist. They're different sizes, they're different millimeters and different size
Yeah.
gloves. And then there's
Uh-huh.
medical grade, and then there's some people. A guy calls me and say, "Oh, this glove, that glove, I got such a good deal. I want this millimeter." I'm like, that's not FDA approved. Well, as is what I like to use. Okay, so we don't sell it. Like what are you supposed to do? And then a colleague of mine here is like, someone called them up. They want 6 millimeter gloves. I'm like, where are they getting this from? Whatever. So and he wants a whole bunch of them. So trying to figure out how to source them. That's just not typical,
I think I've
right?
tried
So
those
so
6 millimeter gloves. You can't feel anything. I'm like, I feel like sausage hands.
yeah, maybe that's why they want to use them. I don't know. I don't understand.
If I poke myself with that
Yeah.
anesthetic
It
going
didn't
through,
happen.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
it's like mesh, like
Yeah.
wire mesh.
It's like
just,
Kevlar. You just got, yeah.
that's what I want. Yeah.
just numb your hand and you won't have to wear gloves. I
There
don't
you
know.
go.
I mean, we could be like the older school. I mean, I know we had a couple professors back in the day that were sans gloves, right?
Yeah,
Like
gloves are optional.
That wasn't a thing. That was let me try
Optional.
your denture
Oh,
in,
okay.
no gloves. That was a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, whoever invented gloves did a good job. They made a lot
Yeah.
of
it
money.
was.
Whoever marketed gloves for dentists, yes.
Yes,
So
crazy.
what are some things that you guys see, right? Because you take calls all the time. You talk to dentists all the time, right?
Yeah.
What
Yes,
what are some
yes.
certain things that you find that are very popular that are just generic stuff that you're like, hey, I you're not a dental materials guy, but you can just look at it and be like, I mean, dentists order this stuff all the time, and they're not telling me that they need to return it, and they keep on reordering. Like, what are some popular
hmm
ones?
It's going to be the house brand level stuff, which by the way a lot of companies take advantage of and charge a lot of money for because people need it. And then in general, manufacturers, you know, s- uh, they give everybody the same price. It's just we typically are less expensive than our competitors, but it's you're gonna have it's like to Alex's point, it's gonna be the gloves, it's gonna be the gauze, it's gonna be masks, it's gonna be syringes. I could break it down here. I'm actually opening up different windows
So,
as we
like,
speak to
can you
see
tell
what.
us how that works then? So, like, what?
Cavi wipes, by the way,
Yeah,
cavi wipes are monstrous, and that's
that
only
was gonna be
because I
mine.
believe
Yeah.
we're agnostic because we sell all the different lines. I can't say one is better than the other, but I can tell you because they give the free cavi wipe containers to the college students,
Oh, hello.
right? That's why people just talk
Oh,
cavi
what
wipes,
is
because that's
that?
all they
Wait,
know.
tell us. What is that? I didn't know it.
A lot of times when you go to college, you're given specific items to use, and they're given to the colleges for free, right? Because
Oh.
they want you as a dentist when you
No,
graduate
you mean like
and you go off on your
The
own
dental
to
school, you're
order
saying?
those
yeah, yeah.
products.
The
Yeah.
school to
Yes,
Yeah.
use.
yes,
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
yes.
it's just
Sorry, I
brand
meant to say
recognition,
right.
right?
You guys don't go to college; you go to dental school. I forgot, right? So,
Yeah.
so it's a that's what they do. It's a cavi whips are ginormous. I'm not saying they're better or worse, but
I don't know. I
that's
never cleaned up anything after myself, so I don't
Yeah.
know.
I don't know. In dental school, in dental school, we always had like, if
No,
you didn't
just
know this,
kidding.
Jay, it was like you'd have a clinic, and there'd probably be, I don't know, 10 dentists there at a time in the clinic, and like each individual clinic. So if I was like in clinic G, right, say around 10 chairs, 10 dentists, and there was usually like one or two assistants for all of the
Yeah.
dentists. So you ended up doing a lot on your own,
Yeah.
and so you kind of had to do all that,
Yeah.
anyways.
got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
looking
I
here.
mean,
My system. Continue. I'm sorry. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, cavi wipes is like it's kind of like Kleenex, right? It's like you buy
Yes.
Kleenex, you don't want to buy
But it's
tissue.
they're better products for like your chairs, and they're better products. There's different. I don't want to go into the nitty gritty here, but we could. But I'm just saying, like
So
it's. But by the pouches are big. Pouches are big. Topical benzocaine for some reason is very popular. Masks we addressed.
So can you tell me the
Yeah.
difference
Here's
then?
some
Kind
more
of break
wipes.
down, because like I think a lot of us, right? If we go back to like the Costco example, right? A lot of us see like, you know, everyone talks with like Kirkland brand stuff, right? And
Hmm.
you know, one of them everyone talks about is like, oh, their alcohol, right? Or their Kirkland brand vodka is
Yeah.
actually Grey Goose or
Yeah.
whatever the rumor is, right, on what it is, but you can get it for like half the price versus getting the branded. So in dental, can you just explain to us and some of the viewers like how the concept of like private labeling or white labeling, can you just break down how that works and how it actually is cheaper then?
Yeah, for sure. It's when you private label a product, you just go to a manufacturer and you find the right one because there are many of them. You have to find one that's actually a good manufacturer because you can end up producing product which is poor. So that takes a little experience and understanding and knowledge. And a lot of times, your private label is the same product as a major manufacturer's. It's a product line. So what you do is you find this manufacturer, this facility, wherever they are, and you say, okay, I'll buy my rights for 3, 4, 5, 6 hours a week or a day or whatever it is, and it's an assembly. They just produce the stuff, and you wrap your label on it, and gets sent into a nice big container and arrives in your warehouse. So you can set up a system where you have runs once or twice a month, 3 times a year, whatever it is, once a year, and then you build your supply. I had a guy reach out to me, an old client. He had a DSO, 3 offices. He sold them. He's going to China now. He's trying to produce a product. And he's going to try to start, the business change, and he's going to try to start selling product here in the United States. So he's just going online, looking around, to try to find someone who will work with him and manufacture a product, and that's how it works.
So how
So
do,
you have some manufacturers do it themselves, and others just like why should you make your own product when you can find someone else who's doing it and they're reputable and done.
and
You
then
leave
how do
your
you end up just doing it cheaper then? Like, I guess I'm saying the example of like, so like the rumor where
because
they
you don't
say,
have to
hey,
report. You don't have to report to your investors. There's no. It's just there's no middlemen. You just have a bunch of people you're paying. $3, $5, $10 an hour to, maybe $1.50 an hour. I don't know, and it just some of the margin on these products are insanity, insanity.
So
And you see that, by the way, with the DSOs. I know you guys sold to a DSO. I
yeah,
think that's
yeah,
public, right?
yeah,
Right. So you see, I see it. I see it. It's the margins are
yeah.
insane.
yeah.
You
So
don't. And that's not a word to bleep out, by the way. It's pretty crazy.
no, remember like a few years ago, Eric, we tried to go down that path with a previous business of mine to create a toothpaste. Remember, because I was doing my salivary testing
Yeah.
stuff, and it was kind of the same thing. I was like, I need to offer a product, but I didn't find that there was really anything great on the market right now. And so, remember, we would talk to those like I can't even remember what they're called, but they're like co-packers almost. It's like they have, they manufacture toothpaste, and they're like, okay, well, what do you want? Send us a couple SKUs or send us, some samples. They'll take some things, from that and try to manufacture.
Formulate it, change like one thing.
It's exactly
Yeah.
because there's certain things, certain ingredients there, like you can't like copy it exactly, but if you changed it from mint to peppermint, like it's like little things like that, you just change like one ingredient or whatever, then it's a whole new product. You smack your name on it, and then it's like, here you go. So I think there's like way less R&D. Right? You don't have to spend so much money on
Yeah.
developing something. You're just like, that looks good. Let me do that one. And then,
Well,
just
that's
make
why
a
we're
bunch
gonna,
of it.
Jay,
Yeah.
next month you're gonna see
And
we're
these
gonna
are
come
runs
out.
by the. Yeah.
We're gonna come out with a crazy dental, but with a K. So it'll be KRAZY.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, that's
Very
fine,
good.
right? One letter's different.
Yeah.
You won't get mad at that, right?
No, nobody. Yeah, it works. You can't even sue anybody for that.
I know.
It's like,
Sorry, I got off track. Go ahead.
No, it's good. No, I was gonna say like, it's some people have their whatever their what's the word I'm looking for, their
Formulary.
patent. Yeah, their formula, their patent. This is what we like, and this is what we do. I met Zuby. For kids they have these prophy pastes. I met the woman. She's a doctor. I think she's in North Carolina, South Carolina, I forgot her name, whatever. And she developed it and she sold it to them, and it's their patent. They have it, and they probably do 3, 4, 5 runs a year with it, and then they're done. And then the next guy comes in with theirs and changes the formula a little bit, whatever. And some of them can be exactly the same. It's and there are people who tell you there's a difference, smells different, and reacts differently. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know.
So how do you
That's up
know,
to you
like,
guys, the clinicians.
so like what should dentists do? Because I think the other thing that we always see in Facebook groups too, right, is like I don't want to not use one of the big four distributors, right? Like we all know who they are because if
Hmm.
if I use like a mid tier one like you guys or a Dental City or one of those kind of ones, it's like well their stuff's not legit, right? Like they're like you were saying they get it from the back of a truck. So like
Hmm.
are there some dental supply companies that do that? We don't have to name who they are, but like how can dentists make sure that their stuff isn't coming from like the back of a truck or it was expired in a different country and then they brought it back to the states, right? Like stuff like that.
You need to buy from distributors that guarantee that they're not selling gray product, and that's the answer. And some of the largest distributors are the highest, uh, have this high sales numbers in gray, but they're not going to tell you that.
Yeah.
And then some of the smaller ones you buy on these random websites that back there, but just find the truck somewhere. If it's a two-prong answer. Number one is you gotta make sure they guarantee that they're not selling gray, and that'll
Is
you
that
know
literally just asking? Is that literally just asking and saying like do most people just put
no,
that on a
no, they
website
have
or
no,
how
no,
do
they
you
have to no, you want their secrets. They gotta find it. They have to guarantee you that they're not selling any gray product.
So how do they
Uh,
how do they do that? Because if they are selling gray product, wouldn't they just say yes, we're guaranteeing it? Wouldn't they just lie?
I mean they could, but
I hope they could. I hope not.
so like how do you define a
I
great
mean,
what is a
certain
great
ones.
pro what is
I mean, it's known in the world that some of the largest distributors are selling a ton of gray. But be that as it may, you're paying a ton of money for that, and then it's going to be hard to really know if those guys are gray or not unless you ask them. They're honest. I could tell you offline. I don't want to make any trouble, but
no, let's not make trouble on
some
this. We can do it
yeah,
offline. Yeah.
some of the guys are they're pumping more gray in there
So
than
what so let's define it
but
though,
the other
right?
ones, if you go to these random websites, and they're gonna, if you look, on the websites, they'll tell you who they're authorized with.
Yeah, I have
And
seen
I'm
that.
putting aside the ones that just sneak in the gray, and that there are those out there that are doing that also. But the ones that are not, you look at the websites, and they'll tell you whether they're
Yeah, I've
authorized
seen
or
the
not.
check mark.
And
It's
if you
like
go to random
authorized
websites,
dealer of like 3M or
yes,
something
right,
like that.
right,
Yeah, I've seen that.
exactly,
But
exactly.
what is so here, take
If
a
you go
step
to a
back.
website that sells both, some of them will. If you see a product, let's use Bond as an example. So if you look at one product, I'm not going to name one because we're agnostic. We sell different lines, but use one bleep Bond, right?
Yeah.
And so you use and you see on their website, or you see on multiple websites, that one guy's selling it for $50 and other guys are selling it for 150.
Hmm.
The $50 one is going to be gray. That's
What
just
is gray? Can we define gray? How do you define
yeah.
gray?
How do you define gray? There's 50 shades. No, there's gray. Gray is there's gray means it's not black and it's not white, right? So
Thank
you're
you.
not a hundred.
There you go.
Colors.
Heard
You're
it here
not.
first.
I'm gonna ask AI. What's the definition of gray? The you don't know where it's coming from. That's the bottom line. And it could be made in the United States and shipped to a third world country and then brought back here. It could be made in the United States to ship to a third world country, but it never makes it out, and someone buys it before it gets out of here. And or right, so the manufacturer makes it for countries. I'll give you an example. You're a rich guy. You're a rich gal. You guys live in Denver, Mile High. You ski. You play tennis, and you barely work because you sold your practice, and you're just rich. You go out to eat.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
You diaper your kids. You have nice diapers, whatever. You have nice food, nice cars. You go on vacations, and you go hang out in Scottsdale, and your parents come watch your kids, and you go to the zoo. You guys are rich snobs, bougie, bougie, whatever, right? So, actually, happen to be great people. You guys are great guys, but right. But if you went to some countries in this world, you'd be like, oh my gosh, dude's wearing like clothes, and he changes his clothes and he washes them, and different color shoes, and he has different bandanas, right?
Yeah.
So it's a different world.
Yeah.
So you're thank God we live in a country that there's affluence and people can afford things. Hopefully everybody can, and that there are cases where we do kindness and help people out. But in general, you can, if you buy bleep bond or a bleep composite, you could pay $100 for it, charge your patient, your insurance covers it, the patient pays for it, however your office is set up. If you buy that bleep bond, bleep composite, bleep whatever, right, and you're in a third world country where people barely have food to put on the table, that they can't afford that. So what do? They take that same product that if you buy it from us at Crazy or DC Dental, right, and we sell it to you for let's say $100, right, and look, because we bought it for 70, 75, 80, whatever the number is, you're going to go ahead, and if you're in that third world country, in a different country, they're selling it to you for $25 or $30, and you're paying $35 or $40 for it. Why? Because nobody there can afford it.
So is it almost
There's
like
no
we're
insurance.
subsidizing some of the third world country product that they send out?
You could look at it that way, or you could say the company has different scales, and they know who they could
So
charge
will
what
they
to.
then put
Like
different?
like
This
I
is kind of
yeah,
interesting.
like this guy I
Yeah.
was talking to you about the Champion sweatshirts, right? So they sell at Costco for $20, and Champion sells it for $50. It's the exact same sweater. It just has red Champion on it. Or like sneakers here. You buy a Nike sneaker here, the United States is going to be $340, and if you go somewhere in a different continent, it may be $48, right? Why? Because there people can't afford it. So it's that's really what. So what happens is they make the stuff here or some other country around the world, wherever it is, and then they ship it out, and they know the margins are,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but you don't know where it may be old
So then
stuff,
does
it
it
may
is
be
the problem
expired stuff.
though? Like
It may be sitting on a truck for 2 years, and you have no idea
yeah.
because it was sitting on a.
Yeah.
Is it going to work? Probably. If it doesn't work, can they sue you? Yeah. Will they sue you? No, nothing's going to happen. They'll just come back to your office, they'll charge them again, and you'll have it taken care of. But,
No, so I
or
guess
you
what you're
just
saying
get,
is like if you want to be compliant, right, or within regulations, right? You're saying you have to know the whole cycle from like when it's created to when it's shipped to when it's delivered, right? And it becomes
yes, and I
gray
can tell
not
you who else
because
doesn't like it.
yeah,
Well,
because
I'm sorry. Yeah, continue. Yeah,
because
continue.
then
I'm
the
sorry.
product's not the product is still good when it's made, but because it maybe went on a crate to somewhere in Africa and then you don't know what happened with it, then they're not tracking it. It could have stayed somewhere for a while, or it could have been
Yes.
open. The composite could have been open and then closed again, right? So and then they could bring
And
it back. And so because you don't have control over stuff, then is it then considered not either I don't know if the right word's FDA approved or whatever the approval is in the United States, it kind of loses that approval. If you like our podcast, check out Alex's newsletter, Just 2 Minutes. It's full of great advice, which makes sense considering it's her thoughts and not me sidetracking her every 2 seconds. You can subscribe at coupleofdentists.com. The link is in the show notes. Now, back to the pod.
Yeah, we don't know what it is, and just to be open and transparent, reps who are trying to sell product don't like it either, and they also very like there was a time where DC Dental sold gray, 10, 12 years, 10 over 10 years ago, and the people would bash us. They would talk so bad about us. Oh, they sell gray. They sell gray. They're horrible people, because if you're buying a bleep, bond composite or whatever it is, right? And I'm selling it for $40, and the larger company is selling it for $120. Where are you buying it from? We're buds, right? We hang out together, right? We're in Scottsdale together. We're in a bunch of places together. We talk, we work together. Business, you can say, you know what? I like the guy Glazer. I'll just go buy from him. I'll go to Crazy, go to DC, I'll buy from him. You're saving $100 on every company, whatever you're buying. So if I'm a company that doesn't take pride in selling gray, they're gonna be like, don't buy from those guys. It's gray. It's poison. It's just
Yeah.
that's the big
that's
one.
what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The big one too, I
That's what
always see
happens.
is on some suppliers it'll say like export package,
Yeah.
and like that's always a lot cheaper,
Yes.
right? And is that a way
Yes.
of is that like a
Yes.
that's a nice way of saying gray, right?
Yes. Or gray is a nice way of saying export. Well, yes, 1,000%. Yes, that's a way for them to say like So I remember I had a client here in Baltimore. Guy's old school dentist. Went to school. I don't know, 180 years ago. No, probably not. Like 30, 40 years ago, and he's on his back nine. So he's gonna be retiring in a few years. Large office. I think they had 8 docs. I think at the time, it's a factory, and so I'm never gonna see you guys again. One of the 8 doctors, because he saw there was a cur item that said, not for sale in the USA, or whatever.
Oh,
And he's
yeah.
freaking out.
Wow.
Now, between you and I, it's the same product. It's just a lot less expensive. These are the days we were selling gray, and it's the same product. They can use it for the patient. It's not going to make any difference. But it's a massive market. It's in the billions in the United
Gotcha.
States. And it's a massive market, and no one's going to die. It's okay, but you don't know anything about it. And the truth be told, let's say you used it on your patient, and let's say it's sat outside in Hawaii in 100-degree temperature in African jungle somewhere, or in the Middle East desert, and it somehow made its way back here. It may or may not have. There's no way to know. That's why they call it gray, right? And then you put in the patient, and something really goes wrong, right? Then the patient has to come back in. You got to spend another hour with the patient, and whose dime is that on? That's on yours.
Yeah.
Right, you the doctor, you the hygienist, the assistant, whatever it is, and then what they do is, if they're nice because they love you and they've used you for many years, okay, so they're going to zip their mouth and they're going to come back to you, take an hour of work off, which is a pain for them, and then they're to pull their kid out of school, whatever it is, you know, or if they're ruthless and not nice, or they're just like in a bad mood because someone slapped them across the face, or I don't know, whatever, they ate something wrong that day, they're going to put a review on your Google on your website, your Google reviews. They say horrible. This has made me come back 3 times. Didn't work twice, and they don't know what they're doing. And this fell out, and that didn't work. Da, da, da. It's not good for business.
Yeah.
It's just not good for business. So it's a gamble. It's really what it is. It's a gamble. Uh, many people, and whatever. It depends on who the person is, and
So
it
I mean,
depends
like,
on who you're buying from.
so kind of like going back to mine, I would think the big
But I
thing
can
is
tell you, manufacturers don't like it either. By the way, the
okay.
manufacturers don't like it because they lose money on it. They don't want to sell the $30 box. They want to sell the $100
Yeah.
box, because guess what? $70, cha-chang, chang, cash, in my pocket. They don't want you buying that one. They want you to buy a nice fluffy $100 one because
Yeah.
it's good for their bonus at the end of the year. I mean, I'm just you want secrets out of the box. I'm just saying how it
Yeah.
is.
No, that
You know,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's yeah. Yeah,
So then, I
that's
mean,
that's
I think then it seems to me from this conversation that the more important thing is knowing that the product you're getting is like legit, right? For the
yes,
most part with that.
yes,
So then if you're
yes.
gonna say,
I
hey,
mean,
I'm gonna get a house brand, like, okay, try it. Like my point is, let's say I went to
house brand, by the way, we sell a lot of house brand, right? We discuss this because we do a lot of business
yeah.
together. So we sell house brand. Our house brand stuff is from the same line as major manufacturer
Yes,
stuff,
exactly, and
Yeah,
that's the
and,
point I was
yeah.
gonna
it's
make. Is like
less than half the price.
yes, if
It's the same
if
stuff.
I'm getting a
It's the same
composite,
stuff.
right, and I'm looking for like a bulk fill composite, right, something I'm just throwing in the back, right,
Yes,
that is an aesthetic,
yes,
I could either buy Bleep composite, right, for
yes,
$120, or I could buy a house brand one for 60 or 70 bucks or whatever it is, same amount, and odds are because it's not gray and there's certain standards that things have to meet. If it's like a nano hybrid composite, right, and they're both the same kind of thing, they're probably going to work
Yeah.
fairly similarly, or there isn't going to be some type
yes,
of error where you're going to be like, oh man, like patients all hate this, but they all loved my Bleep composite, but they hated the generic one. Like
yes.
I've tried to
It
use some, and I've
happens. It
yeah,
happens.
okay,
Absolutely. I like to use this analogy. Watch your language. Too many bleeps in there. But I like to use this analogy and I hope you appreciate it. Dentists to me are like artists, and yes, they like to drill, drill baby drill. But at the end of the day, they're artists, and to keep things squeaky clean, and they have to help people with their teeth. They do whatever they do. So categorize them as an artist. Like if I went to Home Depot or some local art whatever shop at Lowe's or wherever it is, right? And I just bought a bunch of paintbrushes, and I go to an artist and say, can you draw a pic like right behind you? You got these wonderful people painting there, whatever, brushing their teeth, so the characters in your pod room, right? So I say, here, I would like if you could draw me a picture of Batman. I don't know, whatever, right? I love Batman in my room. Can you do Batman for me? Here's a bunch of brushes and paint. The artist's gonna look at me like I'm crazy. Who the heck are you? Like, I don't use those brushes. I don't like those brushes because they don't this and that and that. That paint, I don't use that, right? They're gonna go to their own wherever they buy their brushes from, wherever they buy their paint from, and they're gonna do it, to their specifications and to their perfection. So it's the same thing with dentists. Every dentist likes his or her unique And they have their unique touch, whether it's
Yeah.
from because they went to dental school that way or because they came across, there's some buddy of theirs or some friend told them, oh, you know what, I use this I use that, I use that, and then they say, oh, you know what, so-and-so used it, so I'm going to use it. And in their brain, they think it works better. Whether it does or doesn't, I don't know. Or they've tried, they've been doing this long enough where they've tried different, brands and different from different manufacturers, and they just find for them one works better than the other. It's just the way they work and the way they do things. So you are going to find that in the dental space, where some people are just going to fall in love with a particular product, and it makes no sense that they like that one over another one.
I
It's
know.
Yeah, I
like,
mean,
Yeah.
I kind of
Yeah.
consider myself like, I appreciate that. I consider I probably need to add a word in front of painter. I'm more of like a finger painter, right?
okay,
As a dentist.
okay,
So,
there you go.
so with that,
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
That I've been
Yeah.
called that before,
Yeah.
so that's good.
Yeah, Some decide to go to the store this afternoon to buy a car, and you're with your wife, and your wife's like, it's a family car. I want a maroon car. And you're like, ew, maroon. I don't like maroon. I want a blue one or a white one. Like what? Everyone's just got their, like I like that car. I like that car. Why do you like that car over the other car? Because these companies have designers and they just know what people like and don't like. No, some people care what's under the hood, some people don't. So it's the
Yeah.
same thing with, it's like we were talking earlier. If it's 100,000 products, and we got bibs, right? Bibs. So you know how many companies we carry that sell bibs? Manufacturer names
What?
and house brand names. And I like the 2+1. I like the 3+1. No, that brand was a little too thin for me. No, I don't like the feel. I don't like how it looks. What? And
That's
we
crazy.
deal with 12,000 customers, and everyone's got their own brain.
Well, I know, and that's one
That's
thing
crazy.
maybe with
Like,
dentists is
which
like,
I don't like
you
big.
got to think like.
Yeah, it's like
when
you
you
got-
go back to too, like, and if one patient, like, you see thousands of patients a year. If one patient is like, I don't like this bib because of how this feels, like, that doesn't mean you have to change everything or go buy the most expensive one now too. And I think some people will do that, which
Yeah.
is kind of
Yeah.
annoying. But
And some just look a little like if you Toyota Avalon to a Lexus, it's made by the same company. So
Yeah.
it's just a name. So some people like to look a little different. They say in our office we have certain standards, and we like a bib that looks like it. And then you could have one time, where people call, oh, that bib's horrible. It ripped on us. Okay, one bib ripped out of 500. Whoopie do.
yeah, I know.
So now you're gonna now you're gonna leave us or go to another company or to buy the same bib, just right? Or to buy, you're gonna pay
That's
more
exactly
money
right.
to buy another bib because whatever, dude. I mean,
Dude,
it
we're
I
happens.
know.
down. I mean,
I know.
we can say it as ourselves, or Alex, like as dentists. We're kind
No,
of.
like I think that like I have expensive taste. Like you can line up the like 5 things of like the exact same, and I'll pick the one, and it's like shit. That one's the $5,000 one. And it's like I don't know why. I just pick that one. I gravitate towards it. But I feel like at least we were good in dentistry for taking a step back and saying I don't need to have like that exclusive taste, on bibs or on
Yes.
like certain things. There are certain things I'm very picky on. Yes.
Yeah.
Like there are certain composites that don't work in my hands and they're sticky and I'm like,
Oh,
I freaking hate this.
The one thing we always would
Yes.
argue about. So temporary crown material, right?
Oh, yeah.
Alex always ordered the biggest supplier, right, in dentistry, their brand.
It was
of
house
their
brand.
Their house brand version of it. Myself,
Okay.
my assistants,
It always worked
all
for me.
hated it. It was the worst. It would take forever to set. It would like get stuck in your hands.
I don't
and
get
Alex
it.
was like, I make perfect temps with it. And we were like, you suck. We don't want to use this.
we don't
So
know.
we-
It's
so-
fine. But it was cheap. Like cheap.
It was cheaper, yeah, but like that is a good point. Like there are some things there, but to go back on it though, but at least test stuff out, right?
Yeah.
Like for me, I
Yep.
think I was a little more open to saying, okay, well, let me see. Like if I can improve my spend and not spend as much, right, in supplies and do this, well then maybe I can allocate a little bit more money towards this or towards this or towards this for a patient. If there
Yes.
isn't any
Yes.
like statistically significant difference between a $120 bond and a $50 bond, why would you not do the $50 bond if you're
I
not?
can tell you, there was a time before pre-COVID. I think before COVID it really slowed down, but post-COVID it's extinct. Where reps would come to our office here and try to share with us about their products. One of the biggest challenges I think manufacturers have today is promoting new products. There's ROI, and what is the ROI when you have R&D, you put a new product? How are they supposed to
Yeah.
disseminate it? It doesn't exist anymore because no one's knocking on people's doors, and if they are, people don't want to talk to them. They don't want to pay attention, especially the younger dentists. They don't even know how to communicate. A lot of them. So what is stuck on their
Yeah.
phones.
Yeah.
Hold on,
So it's like-
yeah,
so-
let me
so-
let me text you this answer because you're standing.
Yeah,
in front of me.
exactly. I see with social media. In the old days, they were able to advertise and market and push product. Facebook was huge. It's slowing down. Instagram is non-existent. LinkedIn, it's just people are just they're not. That's not how people think anymore. But anyway, so to your point, like it's so they walk in, and literally we could have 2 or 3 lunches in a week, right? I used to only go if they gave us food. If they didn't give me food, I'm not going. But anyway, so you're sitting there and they're giving us, breaking down molecular formulas. I don't know if they're just tape recorders from what other people told them. Oh, ours is better because they give you a graph, because those guys, they don't have this, and that. Ours is that, whatever the heck that means. I don't know.
The line's a little bit higher on there, so it's like, see, this is better. Yeah.
Bingo. And they use a word that no one has any idea what they're talking about, or does the rep know what they're talking about? Maybe now with the ChatGPT, you can try to break it down to some molecular formula with different, whatever, dude. I mean, you got to be a scientist, whatever. So, mad scientist, fine. So and then the next day, a guy comes in, a gal comes in, he or she tries to sell you on their product. Now, why is theirs better? Because on a different graph, on a different line item, they have a little bit more of something else in there, and that's why it's better. And everyone's got their, their combinations, and therefore, why is it? Whatever, dude. To Alex's point, it's whatever fits better, whatever you're most comfortable with. The patient doesn't know the difference.
Yeah, and the point is, there's probably some standard where things get approved where like they're all probably okay, right? Like,
yes,
I don't think we're letting tons of crap.
The FDA says it's okay. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it doesn't. Right. It's not. And it's just beauty in the eyes of the beholder. That's what I think. I think if you just lay it out on the table, buy it from us, and it's great. But it's the same stuff. It's
yeah. I mean, because you can get like
guarantee it's gonna be exactly the same, because there is some, they found some, nuance in some, whatever product that they put in, in this product that, okay, it's less sticky, or it's more shiny, or it's, whatever they come up with from all their scientists, and they're able to put something together. Okay, fine, great. But at the end of the day, is your patient going to be happy? I think so.
Probably in most, yeah. So I think, and I think that's how we got our, like, because we were able to get our supply spend down to like below 3% for a little while, and a lot of that was just being more open, and there was like a bread and butter office, PPO, like all that kind of stuff too, right? So just a normal dental office, and it was by switching, with with disposable stuff, it was switching to generics for stuff, right? Because like that saves 20, 30, 40% off the top. And
I'm looking at Profangles. I'm looking here at our list now, the 59,000. Profangles is a great example. You can buy a house brand, right? Or you could buy name brand. I'm not putting any name brands down, because I'm sure there's some greatness to them. I'm just saying, like, you could save serious coin. I mean, some people, the difference in savings is what some people get paid a day, literally.
Oh no, there's some kind of what we've done.
You have more employees, and I also find. Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't want to forget what I was going to say. So I think it's an important piece. But remind me right after you say what you're going to say, and I'll remember what I was going to say. So I'm sorry. Say what you're going to say.
But I already forgot. But I forgot what I was going to say. So now did you?
You forgot what you were going to say? Okay, that makes the two of us, because I forgot to. No, what I was going to say. What I find is, and I don't mean to sound unprofessional, but it's fine. Like I always say, the joke here in the office, they need an HR guy just for me. So I'm just going to say it how it is, and you can bleep it out, edit it, or you can just blast it all over the internet.
We all know Eric wants more friends. If you're enjoying this episode, share the podcast, and then tell them to DM Eric so he can hit his quota of 1 new friend per day. Now back to the episode.
I think that, and I think it's human. I really believe this, that if it's you and it's your money, you're going to be a lot more cautious about what is and isn't purchased.
We all know where this is going.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh. Okay, so I'm going to stop there so I don't get in trouble.
I'll say it.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, you go ahead.
Oh.
I think it's human. I think even in a family, you guys are happily married, and some people spend money on things, but when it's your own, when you cover the budget, you're going to be a lot more cautious and careful and
you're tiptoeing. You're being
everybody.
good.
Some people say, "Listen, I don't care, because if I'm only going to save 1 or 2%, 3%, 5%, whatever it is, you know what? I love what I do. I'm focused on the patient." A lot of dentists are like this, by the way. Focus on the patient. I don't care, and it is what it is. And I'm not starting up with anybody to be more careful. And that's it. And some people are like, "No, I'm going to, it's the personalities, and I'm going to stay on top of this, and I'm going to save the money so I can." Go on my Hawaii, Appalachian, my Alaskan cruise, whatever it is, right? It doesn't, or I'm going to hire another employee. Some people have a business mind. Some people just want to go to the office and not get yelled at by their assistants and leave me alone.
Yeah,
you guys
that
can
is a
do
thing.
whatever you want.
Yeah. No, we've dealt with so many offices, like with our ordering stuff, where it's like, hey, you should switch over to this like no name brand Profi angle. And they're like, I wish I could, but I can't because my hygienist won't use anything except this expensive, like Louis Vuitton, like Profi cup, and that's the only one she'll use, or she will quit. And it's like, shit. Okay, yeah, I get it. Sorry, but like, it just
but then
sucks.
it's like I was telling someone too. I was like, look, like they literally were gonna spend with the Profi angles they were getting from Bleep Profi Angle Company, right? Probably spending, say $1,200 a year in Profi angles, whatever that is, right? Like with a house brand one, it would be like $350 for the year. So it's like, I maybe then you just need to communicate to your team like how much of a difference there is, and just ask them to be open to it and say like, or just say, hey, you know what? If you went to that hygienist and said, I'll bonus you another $300, right? Because you're still making more money on that. I bet you they'd be like, oh, I'll switch to that other Profi angle. That's okay.
Yes.
That's fine. That's
so
fine.
I could not agree with you more. You have, and you also, both of you have business minds, right?
Yeah.
Some dentists won't even think that way. They just don't. They don't think that way. They're not even like, I'll give you $300. It's like, whatever. I don't do
But
it.
it was the
Like,
same way too when I was an associate,
think
right?
about it.
Like, and you were going back to the money thing. Like, when I was an associate working at DSOs before our practices open, right? I want the best of everything, right? Because I want to give my pay, like, I want this, and this, and these are DSOs that are taking like HMOs and Medicaid, right? So you're already making no money, right? But I wanted the best of stuff, right? Because my perspective wasn't coming at it as the person who actually has to pay for it, right? Like I get
I also, just not to make you feel good and pats on your back because it's virtual here, but you also take pride in what you do. So there is a, if I was, if I was a chauffeur, right? I don't know if you're allowed to use that word anymore. I don't know what do they call them now.
Uber
can't
driver.
Use the word store. Like yes, yeah. You can't use the word stewardess anymore. They're flight attendants, whatever it is. I don't know. Whatever. So you can bleep it out and edit it, whatever you want to do. But
wait, is chauffeur masculine? Is chauffeur masculine? Is it like chauffeuress if it's a female?
I have no idea. It could be.
But chauffeur, that's fine. Everyone knows chauffeur.
A chauffeurina. So if
okay.
if you have an opportunity to take a job, right, and one company says, I have the newest Escalade, or the nice limousines are like out of style now, but like from the times we grew up, it's a nice limo, whatever. Or I'm just going to take like a regular car, chop it in the middle, and you're going to want to go. That's nice, sophisticated, makes you feel good. I'm going to pick up whatever it is, someone tonight. So it's the same thing here. I think Burr's another great example. I'm just going through the list here, right? So you can have a house brand Burr, and it's probably going to do the same thing as some top of the line, state of the art Burr. Maybe it's a little not as strong. I don't even know, right? But I could look to see which sells more and less.
Yeah, Burrs are kind of like.
Burrs are hit or miss on there, man. I learned through all this stuff too. There are probably like 5,000 SKUs of Burrs. Holy shit, there are so many Burrs. Like you want to talk about gloves?
When you had reps.
Yeah, you want to talk about gloves, right? Now you've got like super fine, medium, coarse, extra coarse, and like one's one chamfer Burrs 1 millimeter, one's 1.2, one's 0.4, one's 1.6.
And just a little bit of a nuance difference on the top. There's ball tops and there's pointed tops.
And oh my gosh.
It's funny. They used to have when they would come to the office and they would open up these Burr chests. Like dentists would just salivate. They're like, like it just they look at it like
Dude, I know. That's one thing that we did implement in our offices. It was like,
I bet we don't. If we say we implemented this and Alex was there,
damn it.
So whenever we say, hey, we implemented something, this is probably something Alex did, and then since she stepped away, all of those systems probably aren't there. So let's hear it. Go. What's the system?
I don't like to hear this, Eric.
Okay.
Like, I take pride in the systems I did, and when I left, like, I don't want things to go to shit. Thank you very much.
Okay, so what's your system?
No, like, my burr block was, like 12, 14, spots or something like that. Like, that was the only burrs that we could use.
Yes,
like,
okay, so
I did not, and especially, like, me, I only, like, give me one burr and I'll prep everything. Like, I'm not very picky.
That's how I am, too.
I don't need, so many
we kept that
so many specialty burrs, but when you have associates come on board, they ask, like, can I have this burr for this and this burr for this and this? And I, like, literally, I was like, no. we have to just use the ones that are on here.
Or it was like, we have this many available
yeah.
slots.
If you want to switch
Maybe-
this one out, fine. But like, we are not adding more to our
Well, then it's just hard to
inventory.
run a business like that too, because then it's like, what? Now you have to buy different burr blocks, and now like one's labeled
Yes.
one person,
And
one's
then
like
they,
you gotta.
it-
And you
yeah.
know how long it
And
takes
they
to like switch a burr
They switch
out?
operatories, and then the burr they want is not there, and they're real small. You can lose them. Here's another great example. I'm going through the list here. I'm in the 30,000 range there. But like instruments, excavators, and
Oh, yeah.
just
All those.
oh my
Oh,
gosh,
all the
there's-
different
there's
grades, like the different numbers. But yeah, I mean, but that's like with
X
so I've-
Pros, and there's just 10,000 instruments.
And I've found with my hygienists now, they've been pretty good because same thing with hygiene. We kind of bought like the big popular ones, right? Like everyone gets like Montana Jacks, right? Or like, you know,
Yes.
the great
Like a
the-
sickle scaler.
yeah, and
all
like you
those,
kind of
yeah.
have
Yes.
your like standard ones. The hygienists
Yes.
I have now have been good about like make sure my they like their Cavitron tips, which I agree. Cavitron tips need to be good. They like to use those. And then with the other scalers, they're like, I just need one that's good for the back teeth, the front teeth, maybe one that's a little extra sharp here. I'll do that, and then we're good. And
That's good.
mine have been a lot better about not being picky about that stuff. Because one time,
good.
remember we had one hygienist.
I mean,
and she
one
was-
time,
no,
multiple times.
Probably multiple times. We had a hygienist who came on, and she was like, I have a list. Like, she came in with her list, right? Like,
It
I
was
need
like
these-
day one.
I need these 10
Working
instruments.
interview, kind of thing. And it's like,
And so we're like,
geez.
okay, fine. We can't find hygienists anywhere, so we'll give you whatever you want, right? You want 2 each,
Yes.
3 each, yeah. And
Yes.
so we give her all those things, and then 2 weeks later, she's like, I'm quitting. And I'm like, God damn it, we just spent $800 in instruments that we're never gonna freaking use. So now when they come on, I'll say, I understand if you want it. Maybe we can talk about that. First, though, I need to know you're going to stay here because, like, you can't,
Well,
you know.
Yeah, this sounds like the person that walked in with their list is needy personality, and she just
Yeah.
does whatever the heck she wants.
Yeah.
And you got to bow to her, and if you don't, you have a good life. But like going back to it, talking about composites, and each composite is A1, A2, A3, A, B, or C, D, and
Yeah.
some of them are now trying to compound it into one. Like there's one A, there's one B, and then there's a cycle, and then in 5 years from now they'll go back to the 1, 2, 3s, and it's nuts. I'm just like,
I mean,
yeah,
the one
let's
that did a
calm
good,
down
the
here.
one that did a good job with branding was like Omnichroma because we've used that a bit, and they did a good job of however I don't know if it's the name behind it or like
That's
what
impressive because they're a smaller company and they're able to do that. It's very
because it's
impressive.
Tokuyama, right? Isn't it? Is that who it is?
Yes.
Yeah, and
Yes.
they did a good job with however they branded that because
Well, that and plus, it was like at a good price, and they'd always be running a buy two get one free.
Oh, yeah, they
like
always had deals.
So
Yeah,
it was,
the
it
smaller
was-
guys,
yeah.
you're gonna get very usually.
and it was a
gonna
good
get better deals.
product. Like it worked.
I mean, now in your space, you're not gonna get in your space now because you're a DSO. They don't get buy gets anymore, but
yeah.
they only get the smaller. But it's these crown mold, crowns. There's so many different companies that make crowns. Like, why is one? There's a house brand, and then
Are you saying like
there's,
stainless
some of
steel
the-
crowns, like kid,
Yes,
like yeah.
yes, yeah. So many. It's like
What are some things on that E list?
Yeah. What's an E
see
list
if I
item
can
that
find
no one gets? Go into your warehouse. What's got some cobwebs on it?
Yeah, we have to blow the dust off of it.
see, I could do that on a different one here. Hold on, I can use that report because that had like 59,000 items. Fall asleep looking at that stuff. One second. Where'd I go? Oh, stupid me. I'm looking at the wrong page. Okay, here we go. Let's switch it from quantity sold.
I wonder if we know any of these products, like what they are.
So,
Oh,
here we go.
No, like I wonder if we'll
yeah.
recognize it.
Okay, here's one. You ready?
Yeah.
Actually, someone just returned a few.
So like, this isn't what I wanted.
Yeah. Traverse Rotary Glide Path File, 0.6, then a 1325 millimeter. You ever even heard of that?
A glide. Well, yeah.
Conceptually, that, but
Yeah.
like, is that
Okay.
a brand?
I don't
Is
know
if
there
that
some
brand.
An EasyJet cassette, old 8, and there's another cassettes. They have all different colors. This one
Oh.
is Place Beige.
Is there? Oh, on patient bibs, is there a color? Because like most of us on bibs will get like lavender, right, or blue.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a color that like I feel like there's like 20 different colors on that. Is there one that like
No one
Here's
no
orders.
one
one.
ever ordered
How
like
about a
mustard?
bib?
Is there like a mustard
Yeah,
yellow?
the one ran is a bib napkin holder, autoclavable,
Yeah.
silicone,
Oh yeah, those are. We
Yeah.
ordered those.
dark blue, green, light blue.
Yeah. I mean, I
I'm
get
not
it
gonna
at some
say
point.
I'm not going to
Yeah.
say the brand because I don't want to.
Yeah, that's
I don't
fine.
want to put it. Here, air water syringe. Here's one. If there's one I probably never heard of. True Tip Plus air water syringe tips.
A true tip?
Yeah,
I don't know what that is.
yeah,
I
Like
don't know
make the
that.
water
That's what I'm
more.
saying.
Yeah.
It's made by a brand. I want to
Yeah.
How about
Like, do those brands, like, those companies even exist anymore? Like, shouldn't you just,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
oh, they still do? Oh,
yeah,
someone's
yeah.
buying it, I guess.
Yeah. Well, they can probably exist because they probably sell those air water tips for like $1,200, so they only need to sell like a few of them a
That one
year.
is actually it's actually like a house brand, but nobody knows it exists
Yeah. Interesting.
because it's a house brand. There's no money there to promote it. We actually have that. Here's one: OptiComp Universal Nano Hybrid Composite.
Never heard of that brand. Yeah. Yeah, interesting. So I think like big takeaway on it, and the thing that we figured out too, or what I'm trying to solve too with all of our ordo stuff is, it's not only finding like the like for like stuff. So like, hey, I'm buying this on one of the big guys, and they charge me $12 for a canister of cavi wipes, but Crazy Dental's selling it for $10.50, right? Like that's like for like that's fine. But I think it's also knowing what the generic alternatives are for those. So, instead of Cavi Wipe, right? Like you said, they do such a good job with branding. Maybe I can buy Crazy Dental house brand disinfectant wipes, which are most likely going to work. Because like we've said, for you guys to sell something, it's going to be approved. It's not going to be gray market stuff. And maybe those are $6.50 a can, right? So like, I think it's just having the information. And I think for dentists, what I would tell them is just being open to trying it. You don't have to buy a quantity. You don't have to buy like 10 packs of it. Buy one.
Yeah, buy one can for $6, $7, $8,
Yeah,
and if
see
you
if
like
it's
it,
okay. See if
instead
it,
of paying
yeah.
9, 10, 11, 12 over the year, and it's going to be a very popular can.
Yeah.
And I'm not
So I
sure
think
I'm
it's
not
just
here
like dip.
to downgrade Kurzak cavi wipes, but it's whatever, dude.
Dude, I think it's just like
Yeah.
be open to trying it and see, and then we get squeezed
Yeah.
everywhere else, and this is still a spot that I feel like because supplies are such, I mean, it's a commodity business, right? And so it prices, you can get prices to go down for a lot of stuff, even though, with all the tariff stuff, your guys' prices went up. But in general, right, like you can still, I think, control that expense more than you can like me going to Delta Dental and saying like pay me more for a crown. They're gonna ignore that email really fast, right? Even if 1,000 dentists do it, they don't give a shit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm surprised you
That's
haven't
one of
talked.
the advantages, by the way, to having a rep, where you're going to pay more when you have a rep because the dude's got to pay his bills and she's got to pay for her gas and she needs to eat her Kit Kats while she's driving from, and whatever it is. But at the end of the day, I just pick on Kit Kats because I like them. So it's just a shout out to Kit Kats. But
Sponsored by Kit Kat.
yeah,
this has been sponsored in part by Kit Kat. So at the end of the day, a rep does help. So like for us at Crazy Dental, so we have customer service and we do have some of us that are readily available and ask questions, but there's not going to be someone knocking at the door, and that there's a cost to that.
yeah, it's
and
kind of that's like a legacy. I feel like you were saying earlier, that's more of like a legacy way of doing it. I don't know of young dentists our age or even younger dentists that are like, oh man, I miss my rep. Whereas I'll talk to my dad or people that age, right, and they're like, I love when my rep comes in. He takes care of me, right? Like, you hear some of the big guys and they always say like, oh yeah, and then they help me with equipment stuff too, right? Like they'll help fix something. And I think they kind of do a good job of combining all that into one thing to make it seem like there's more value there. But I don't know. I haven't used a rep forever. They don't come into our offices anymore that we're with the DSO, right? Like they actually, our old rep was like, I can't work with you anymore.
Yeah, those guys. They're I know your DSO. I actually know that that. I know the head of that's how the head of procurement there. But that's how it works. I mean, it's a different world, and we actually use that to our advantage in some ways. We as a company, and when especially if they use the Crazy Dental model, the margins are just thinner than thin. There's less and less meat on the bone every day, especially with DSOs and groups and whatever it is. And you got to be competitive. So you got to find ways. So we have our banner. Some of them push banners now, and they'll say like the manufacturers will push banners just to try to push their new products out, or push their products because there's no. I like to use this analogy, but like if you watch the Super Bowl, I don't know if you watch it because the Broncos. I don't think they were there this year. Right? So the not the Ravens were there either. But why is Coke? Why is Budweiser? Why Pepsi? Like so many of these same companies just keep pumping them because you need exposure. If you don't, someone else is going to get it.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with these manufacturers. They spend oodles of cash on producing products, and they got to sell them. And there's so much competition. You go on a plane, you land. They all say the same speech. Thank you so much for flying this bleep airline. We know you have so many options and blah blah blah. Thank you for flying with us. Now, what picked you to, why are you flying that airline over another airline? It depends on the city you live in because that's their hub. Whatever it is, you just like that airline, or you like their point systems. You like because they fly to, Bosnia, and you want to go to Bosnia, so you fly an airline that flies direct to Bosnia. Whatever reason you pick that airline, right? And there are the same thing with manufacturers. There's so many out there, and a lot of them are selling the same stuff. And we as a company need to sell them all because guess what? That's what our customers want, and we need to take care of our customers. So if our customers we don't have what they want. We don't have what they want. Guess what? They're going somewhere else.
Yeah.
that's,
Yeah.
that's just the way it's going to be. And that's how we grew. We grew by just onboarding one after the next. And, now we're number 5 in the country. But it's just and the other guys have been around. I don't know, 50, 60, 70
Yeah.
years. And we're 20 years old. But you just gotta keep pumping. You gotta find ways to scrape, to squeeze, and what else can you make money off of? Because it may not be the supplies. There may be other avenues to find ways for income because you can't. There's less and less meat on the bone as there's more and more competition out there.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, it's always a pleasure to bring you on. We'll have to have you come on again because we can just shoot
Let's
the
do
shit
it
for
tomorrow morning,
hours.
baby.
Yeah. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
I don't stop talking. I try to be a quiet guy in public. Sometimes I just let it out
What?
burst.
Is that your goal?
But,
Yeah. Are you? Wait.
Yeah.
You go into
That's a
rooms
terrible
trying to be
goal.
quiet?
No, sometimes I just try to think. I had a meeting earlier today, and I was so impressed and so proud of myself. Where there's some real high players. I'm involved in a bunch of nonprofits, so there's a guy there who's the largest donor. And it could be in the state of Maryland, whatever it is. He was there and a couple other guys, and they were talking. I kept my mouth shut, just quiet and listen. And sometimes I do that just to, like I didn't disrupt you guys when you were giving your seminar, your lecture. I could have. Sometimes you just gotta stay quiet. I could have thrown toilet paper. I could have done something, but I was
waiting for that. I was waiting for a confetti thing when we were done to pull a confetti thing.
Yeah. I should have done that. I should have just pulled the wires, the plugs, or something.
Yeah.
I was in Miami this past weekend for a conference, and so they put the vendors in in an alcove, but it was outdoors. So Miami, usually you think it's gonna be nice and warm, a little breezy, it's on the water, whatever. So I think 2 weeks ago they beat their record, first time in 117 years. It was like 39 degrees or something like that. Anyway, so it started raining, it got really windy and chilly. It was like it was 60 outside, 65, whatever. So, but once it started getting windy and it was raining, it felt like it was in the 40s. So there's seminars going on. And most people just went inside because they couldn't deal with it. Things are windy, things are blowing up. I'm like, no, I'm going to man up. I'm going to stay out here because I'm not getting traffic if I go inside. No one's going to see me. So I bought some bottles of some alcohol. That's what I have left. I put it on my table. This is what I got left.
Oh, geez.
And I even brought it back. I'm so cheap, I brought it back with me. That's how cheap we are here. Anyway, so
Resell that.
yes, I told.
Yeah, is that gray? Is that gray market?
Yeah, very good. I thought make sure you could like put the cast back on so you can bring it home. Anyway, so I was like, so people came to the table, they drank a little, whatever. So I started just doing these outbursts. It was so cold. I was like, no. And people inside the seminar, like lecture, turning around, like, what the heck was that? And I'm freezing out there. I'm like, what am I doing during a lecture? I'm trying to get to work. Computers are literally flying. The few people that were left, stuff was just everywhere. So, and these are heavy bottles. It helped keep my stuff down on the table. And look, it was a cool experience. But some of the vendors were not happy. They were like, "Oh, what are you supposed to do? I mean, that's the area, and that's where you're supposed to go." And then they complained when they went inside, nobody was there. Well, of course no one's going to be there. Why? Dentists don't want to see you anyway, so they have to stop by. Okay, if you're there, okay, they'll have to say hello. But if you're hiding in another room, I'm not going there.
No,
that was my cool experience of
this is
keeping
why we
my
said,
mouth open.
Jay, like we've loved getting to know you these last couple of years. Like it's awesome. It is a compliment to say like one of one, and like I always appreciate people who either just do things a little bit differently or just are themselves with stuff. And I feel like like you said in that Miami example, it makes such a big difference, right? Like it works, right? Like you're a big part of why probably DC Dental and Crazy Dental has grown so much, right? I won't tell the the higher ups that. But
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, tell them that. Then
Yeah,
they
tell
can,
'em.
chang. Yeah, yeah. Tell.
Jay needs to get paid.
Tell my wife. Yes, pay that boy. People, a lot of places when I travel, people think I own the place because that's on the face of it. I'm everywhere,
Yeah.
but that's the way it works.
Nice.
But it's good. It's good. Thank God, it's all good, and we just keep rolling. I think was the first time we went was in was it Texas, right? It was in Orlando. Where was it? You were with your kids, I think. Yeah, I think Eric. I think your
Oh,
parents
Texas
were there.
and San Antonio. Yeah, we were at Costas's thing.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
Costas
yeah.
thing, right?
Yeah.
DSN, DSN, that's where it was, right? You guys were outside. I remember Alex was feeding the kids French fries.
Yep.
Yeah.
With some
Didn't
ketchup.
you bring?
I
We,
remember.
we bring all of our kids. You bring like one of your litter that you have. You brought one.
I have a raffle. I have a lot of them. Who
Yeah.
gets
So
to go on
Jay
this one?
has 10 children.
Is it
right?
10?
Is it 10?
Or is it more now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never know. Could have happened.
Yeah.
But,
Nice. Well, thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you guys so much.